Hello everyone, this is Nilu. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I share tutorials and tips for web developer. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced coder, there is something here for everyone to learn. Let's code, learn and grow together. Today I'm going to talk about Context API in React. If you haven't watched my videos in setting up the React and in the first part and the second part, which I talked about use state, please go there and watch them before continue this video. Okay, what's the Context API? I told you in the previous video that each component in the React can have several states, and we define these states using use states. And as you know, React can have several components. For example, these are the React components. And for example, there is a state in here that the component number 1 has access to it, the component number 2 has access to it, the component number 3 has access to it, the fourth one has access to it. All of these components access to these single states. So what should we do now? Because as we already discussed, user state can gives us this opportunity to have the state for a local component, but now we want a global state. For the global state, we use Context API. By Context API, we can make a provider. Let me change it to this. Make a provider, and by using this provider, this state can be accessed through all the components in the React. So let's get started. Okay, npx create React app. The name of the project can be temp project. In this project, we want to make a toggler for the website which can change the light of the website. For example, if it is some people like the website to be light, some prefer to dark mode. So this project is about changing the mode from light to dark, from dark to light. Okay, now we have our project set up. So we go to temp project, npm start. Okay, now we have everything set up. Okay, we go to the app.js, clean this all. Also, this is not important anymore. This is our app. Okay, and also let's delete all the things in CSS. I don't need the logo. And okay, right now everything is fine. I want to add the layer from the videos about the grid layout, which I'm going to add the link in here if you are curious about how to implement this layout. I just need to copy and paste. For the CSS also, I have this file. Okay, this is the layout. I implemented it using the grid, and now let's go to the app.js. Okay, what should we do for the Context API? For the Context API, we have to do 3 things. The first one is to create the context. Okay, let's go to another file named temcontext.js, and in here I'm going to create the context. So for this purpose I need to create the context. The context name is same as the context file, which is equal to create context, yeah. And what's the create context come from the React. So I'm going to import React and create context from React. Okay, so we did the first step. What was the first step? Create the context. This is our context. Temp context is now our context. Okay, next, what should we do? For the second part, we have to make our temp provider. What's the temp provider? Provider. To create a temp provider, we also need to have a function temp provider is our name, which is equal to an arrow function, and it returns temp context dot provider. So it is temp context dot provider and this. Okay, what does the temp provider takes? Temp provider takes the children. What's the children? Children, as it is a provider, so it's like this square around the components, and these components are the children. Okay, what do we need for the temp provider? We need a state that change from light to dark, dark to light. So first we need a state that we are going to implement it using use a state. We have a state named temp and set temp, use a state, and for example the first the initial state is light. Okay, and then we need a toggler. What's the toggler? It look at the current state and change the state to another state. There is only two states, light and dark. So let's write the toggle temp, which is going to be an arrow function. Set them. It look at the previous state, which is prev 10, and then if the prev them is equal to light, change it to dark, otherwise change it to light. So here is the toggle temp. Now for the term for having these component access to the temp state and the toggle temp, we need to have our value props, which is a built-in props in context provider, and send our temp and toggle temp to this. Also, we need our children to be in the middle of the provider. So we set our temp provider now. And for having access to temp provider, we need to go to the index.js and wrap the app component, which is our main component, which is the parent of all the components of our website. We need to just wrap the app through this provider. Okay, now we go to the app.js. In app.js, we need to do our third step, which is the use of the context. For using the context, we need to use context. What's the use context? The use context is a hook which take the temp context, which we already implemented in our temp context, this one, and also we have exported it, and as a parameter it takes it, and as an output it gives us the temp and the toggle temp, those values which we already implemented in our temp provider. So here we have them and toggle them is equal to use context and temp context as an input. Okay, now let's just simply console.log the temp, and we can see that what's the problem in here? Okay, temp. So there's no error in here, but what's the problem? That I cannot see the result. Let's just again start the program. Okay, the index one is here. We have the temp provider. Let's go back and see what's the problem. And then in the temp project, I have my temp context provider, and also I have the value and context, and everything is good in here. We have app.js in here, which I implemented this, and yeah, everything is fine in here. What's wrong then? Let's just back to what we had. Okay, what's the problem with that? Oh, why we cannot see the app? Okay, it's something related to temp provider. What's the problem? When I add the temp provider, I cannot simply see the app anymore. Strange. Okay, go to theme provider. The theme provider, take the children. Okay, it's related to children. And the children see here. Okay, now we can see what we had. It's all about a typo. Sometimes it gives the headache. Okay, back to the what we had. So in the third step we use the context. So let's go and see the theme. Theme is light. You can see that now we have access to this. Okay, also we need to add a button in here for toggling the things. So we have a button, and in the button we have an on click, which reference to the toggle theme, and by on click this we can we have a toggler here. Okay, this is the toggler, and by clicking this you can see that the state change. Okay, now we need to use what we had right now. Okay, I want to change the color by clicking the light. So what should we do? Let's change these classes to class name because it is React, and also I need another class in here. And okay, for the light I want to use the theme. So if it is dark, I need to use the dark class. If it is light, I need to use the light class. For this purpose, I need to add two classes for this element. For this purpose, I'm going to use the backtick, the container, and the theme. So go to the API app CSS and this, and for the element which light and container, I'm going to have this background color. For the dark, for example, I'm going to have this background color, very dark, and the color is going to be white. So you can see the container is now, it's very dark, so let's change it to this. Okay, it's better. By clicking the toggler, I can see the light, the dark, the light, the dark, but the toggler is not the good place in here. So let's add the toggler, for example, here next to the header. So I'm going to add dot button, and the grid area is button. So the toggler is now in here. Let's change other things. For example, by using the toggler, I want to change also the color of the bottom change. So I have a light with background color white, and the color of the text is also 000, but when it is changed to the dark, it is the reverse. So it is 000 and it is FFF. let's go to the app.js and change the class name of the button to the same things. So it is going to be button in here. Okay, now when I use the toggler, this toggler also change. You can use the same pattern for the header, nav, sidebar, content, and the footer by simply add the theme to these class names and also add the style of light and dark to the class of the CSS class. Okay, thank you. If you like this video, please subscribe and like if you like it, and also please comment your questions in the comment box. Thank you so much. Bye.